hands, catwalk spinning a dip. You are watching the Vogue tip. What I say might be contrary, but I know you love this commentary. Nelly will give you what you need to get some life off a YouTube feed. Here's what you need to know. Now get into the Vogue tip.
Hey guys, welcome back to Vogue Tip. I'm your host, legendary Nelly West. If you're new to this channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button down in the corner. I really appreciate it. It helps me out. So today's going to be a little story time. I had been practicing with my best friend Jody at the time, and there was a ball coming up, a major ball. DC's like major ball. The DC Awards ball, also called the Capital Awards ball. And the time was April, and it was 2009. This is my very first major ball I've ever attended, and I couldn't believe how many people were there. Like, I didn't even know all of the people were there. Like, it was just brand spanking new to me. The only people that I had probably seen on YouTube at this time was Laomi and Cassandra. Those are probably the only two people I really knew by name. And at this particular ball, you had to bring it with your favorite Voguer on your shirt. And I didn't know who to do. I just didn't know. I hadn't a clue. So my best friend told me to do Foxy Milan. At the time, I didn't know who Foxy was, but I had Foxy on my shirt, and a cartoon character of a fox on top of it. And I knew nothing about really being feminine at that time. That just wasn't something I really knew well. My best friend told me, tie your shirt to make it, smaller and more cunt and shit like that, and I did it. And at the time, I didn't know what dance shoes were. I didn't know. When I would practice voguing, I would vogue in my socks. So when I got to the ball, that's what I did. I vogued in my socks. And I vogued in 2 different colored socks at that. Such a big no-no. I felt like I looked so horrible, so terrible. But this was a time when Jack and Selvin were the main MCs to book for a major ball. Like, if you were throwing a major ball, Jack and Selvin were on the mic. So Jack and Selvin on the mic, had no idea what I was doing. I mean, I knew how to vogue, and I think when I got there, my nerves got the best of me because I felt like at that time, I could vogue better in the house than I did at that ball. But in the house and on the floor are 2 totally different things. And I feel like you always vogue so much better in the house than you do on the actual floor. Like, it's hard to get those two experiences to mesh and become one. It takes a long time, I feel like, for some people. It took a long time for me. And at the time, I couldn't catch a beat.
She can't write. She could never hit a beat.
Oh! The people that walked Virgin Vogue with me that night are still very active in the scene today, and there are a lot of the legends that stand tall today. At the time, there was Pumps, who was Nescada, who's now legendary Pumps, but I'm not sure what house she's in. I think she might be alive in. And legendary Ronnie Balenciaga, who was Ronnie Illuminati back then. And there was Davina also walked that night. She was a butch queen at the time. I'm not sure what house she was in at the time, but Davina was also part of that class of virgins. So every time I see a virgin category, I always think to myself, like, these are the future legends of performance. These are future legends when you watch a Virgin Vogue category, and I think that's so interesting. Just to know that night, 4 people that were in that lineup are legends today. Myself, Pumps, Davina, and Lil Ronnie. I feel like that's just so dope to think about. So like, I was dipping off beat, I was duck walking off beat. I was a true virgin in the sense, never walked, never won. That's what a virgin is. Somebody who has never walked a Vogue category and never won a Vogue category. So I ended up making it. I won my first battle somehow, somewhere, a miraculous gift from God. So fast forward maybe a month or 2 later, still a 007, still like feeling my way out in the scene. I had been to a couple practices with other different houses. At this time, the House of Prestige and the House of Crayola were like developing their DC chapter, but I had no interest in being in those houses, and I was offered to be in those houses, but I was just like, nah, because I didn't feel right. If that, I don't know how to explain it, but like, I felt like I just, nah. And so, eventually, I walked this ball in Baltimore, the Illuminati ball. So fast forward a couple of weeks later, I walked the ball in Baltimore, and you had to have your have a Voguer on your shirt who you wanted to make know it. I kind of took it not that I wanted to make her know it, but that I looked up to Kitty. That's kind of how I had it. I looked up to Kitty a lot. And so that night I got chopped. And I gagged so bad. You could see it in the way I walked off. I gagged so bad that I got chopped. Because I had been practicing, I had been doing my thing. I just thought, that was my time. Fast forward like a month or two later, there was a mini ball in DC. And I did not walk in socks. Thank God. I walked in regular shoes. And all you had to do for this ball was have an I Love DC t-shirt on. Which I had and I bought. And I actually beat two people that night. I beat Cha-Cha, who's now stands as a Balenciaga, and he walks Butch Queen Runway now. And I also beat Alyssa, who I believe is a Milan now. And I don't think she Vogues anymore as much. I know she walks Femme Queen Wellness now. And so I won that night. And fast forward a few weeks later, the cons had an open house meeting. And the cons were the people that I was always around. I would go to their practices. They would help me out. And that they had been around. I had been around them since I was about 15 years old. So I had already knew them. And I had a relationship with a lot of the people in the DC chapter already. So it just made sense for me to be a con. And I liked their presence on the floor. I knew that they were really, really a house. So that's how I became Nelly Khan. If you like this story time, leave me a comment down below. Let me know if you want to know more stories, because I have a lot of stories about my experiences in the ballroom scene, different things that I've learned, different things that I've been through. Let me know if this is something you guys want to see again. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you comment. That's it, guys. I'll see you next time.
Now get into the Vogue Tip Show. Get.